Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm still in Texas right now, enjoying a little bit of time with some friends here on a lake called Lake Kiowa. We've got a ton of friends here, and it's always great to come over here and just relax a little bit. But we've got the Lake Eufaula, Oklahoma tournament next week, and that's going to be, you know, a really exciting event. I'm really stoked on that one. Been doing a lot of Google Earth and Navionics mapping study, and it's just, man, it's going to be right up my alley. As long as I focus on the things that I love to do, I think it's going to be a good tournament. But anyways, I wanted to do this video, and it's kind of a part two to the shell bed video that I recently posted the other day. And in that video, I was essentially trying to demystify, you know, finding shell beds. So it was more of a where, you know, location-based type video on, you know, a lot of people talk about shell beds, and and when you hear that kind of that keyword shell bed, you know, most pros don't kind of dive into, like, you know, where you can find shell beds, where are the most likely areas. And we talked about high spots and using your Navionics mapping and mapping in general to find these high spots. And that's usually where you're going to find the shell beds, the most productive shell beds. Is there's got to be some kind of rise in the contours. It could be a couple inches. It could be, you know, 10 or 12 feet or something like that. But it's a rise where more current is condensed, and current is kind of a big key for these mollusks, these little, you know, organisms that comprise the shell beds, and so I really did focus on the high spot aspect of finding shell beds, just trying to kind of break down that mystery of, like, you know, do I have to essentially dedicate my life to idling everywhere out there in the middle of nowhere to find these shell beds? No, you can actually find them on your mapping. As long as you have good mapping, you can find those spots, you know, before you even get to the lake a lot of times. But that discussion also wasn't, it was kind of a reductionist type discussion where we were talking more about location, but I kind of made it seem like, and I had a couple people mention this, a couple viewers, and rightly so, that there's more to shell beds. The reason why shell beds are such a effective type of location or structure for bass goes well beyond just the high spot aspect of it. So I didn't want to kind of leave that topic there and not kind of elaborate on why shell beds are so effective. You know, like I said, had a couple viewers mention, you know, it's all about the ecosystem, and that's 100% true. You know, the shell beds are in a location because it is an optimal location for what they're trying to accomplish as far as their part of the food chain. You know, they're in those high spots and those areas where current is condensed and most prevalent, so they can filter, you know, the water for, you know, what they're eating, the plankton that's floating through the water, and so they're there primarily because of that. But what shell does, what these animals do at the base level of the ecosystem, is in that area there's a lot of things that go on, and there's you know, there's bait fish that feed off of a lot of the things that the shell, the mollusks bring to that area, and then that works its way up the ecosystem. And not only that, but we know that bass love hard bottom, and shell beds are hard bottom because they're just generation after generation of shell built up in these areas. So even a slightly you know, a area that has a little slight rise to it, over time that rise is going to get bigger and bigger because these you know, these organisms start dying off, but they leave their shells and it just keeps piling up. And so you've got a lot of things going on a shell bed. You've got a hard bottom, which a lot of times, you know, if you have a grass flat, you know, when I was living down in Florida, shell beds were such an important type of structure because you'd have this grass flat and then you'd have a shell bed that just over time became so impermeable with you know, those hard shells piling up, that the grass wouldn't be able to grow in that particular spot. So it'd be this hole where the bass could use to you know, ambush prey and do all kinds of stuff, even, you know, make their beds on the shell. So shell beds offer a ton of different things. So I didn't want that last video to kind of seem like shell beds are just kind of the shell is an afterthought to the high spots. Now, finding the shell, it's really important to look for high spots. So you can find shell beds, but one thing that's also very important is that not every shell bed is going to be super productive. It has a lot to do with what is around it. Like I just mentioned, grass. You know, if it has other bass holding cover and structure nearby, a shell bed is more and more likely to be a effective and productive spot. You know, but if it's barren for hundreds and hundreds of yards, there's really nothing around. Yes, shell bed can still hold fish, but the likelihood that it's like, you know, one of those killer spots that is in every cast deal gets lower and lower. So you have to have a lot of other ingredients too sometimes to have a productive shell bed. Again, that's not every situation. I've fished shell beds where it didn't seem like there was anything else around, but the bass just absolutely loved it. Number one, because the shell is, you know, those organisms, there's a reason why those animals are there. Those little, you know, mussels, clams, whatever type of mollusks are down there. There's a reason why that they're there. It's because it's an ecosystem that is conducive to them being there. And when you have one type of organism that's really, really, you know, concentrated in an area, you've got to have other organisms. I mean, it's just, you know, that's the whole point of an ecosystem, is that everything kind of works together in a symbiotic relationship in these spots. And so that's what makes a really good spot. But some key notes are, you know, not every shell bed is going to be productive. Not every high spot is going to have a shell bed, but pretty much every shell bed is on some type of high spot, in my experience. That may not always be the case, but I can't even think of an instance where a shell bed that I've fished and caught fish off of wasn't even just slightly raised from the surrounding area. It seems like that is kind of the common thread between all these productive little shell bed areas, is that it has to have a slightly raised kind of topography to it, and you know, and some good current around, whether wind blown or just natural current, whatever it is. But anyways, guys, yeah, I just wanted to kind of, you know, expand that discussion a little bit and kind of go into more of the why, you know, shell beds are more productive, because I did have some really, really good and you know, very reasonable, you know, feedback on the last video that I think needed to be discussed as well, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging with just a little part of the puzzle. I want you guys to kind of start understanding, you know, how to find shell beds and why they're so good in certain situations. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you guys have any other comments or questions, of course, drop a comment in the comment section below. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and definitely trust the process. I'm going to see you out on the water.